Hello and welcome to the Delphian Podcast.
Delphian is an artist-led nomadic gallery focusing on emerging and early career artists.
Each episode will feature a different art world practitioner, from artists and gallerists to collectors and curators.
If you like today's episode, please like, share and subscribe. Okay, hello and welcome to the next edition of the Delphian Podcast. I am Benjamin Murphy and with me as always is Nick James Thompson.
Hello. Our guest today is collector and curator Oliver Elst. He is the founder of Cuperior Collection, which is a collection of works by some of the most exciting emerging and early career artists. Hello.
Hello. Thank you much. Thank you so
Hello,
much
Oliver.
for having me.
Thanks for joining us. That's all right. So this is the, I suppose this is the third of the lockdown podcasts we're recording online. So it's the first one we've done like this. So bear with us if there's any little errors or anything. So let's dive straight in. So Oliver, for those who may not know, please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into collecting.
Yes. I started back in 2016 with my collection. And originally I'm coming from the creative area, design. And back in my university, I was already doing a lot of arts, like painting, nude sketching, and these kind of things. And this kept me as a big hobby beside for a long time, even then in my profession as a normal working. And then I started with buying my first kind of piece of art was a lithography with Gerhard Richter, famous German artist.
That was your first ever purchase?
This was the first. It was like a big, let's say, edition, like very, let's say, was very good and very famous works. And this is how I started. But I didn't really have the feeling of the spirit and this magic of a real piece of art, like if you're standing in front of a painting or a sculpture. And then I had this idea. Okay, why not dig in a little bit more into this kind of art collecting and finding maybe a unique topic where you can start and collect more in deep, like focusing on a specific topic. And I found some articles that that African contemporary is quite interesting as well. That time was not as hyped as it is today, so more reasonable priced. And I sold my lithographs and bought my first piece of art, which gave me a much more bigger feeling that a piece of art can give to you, like this quality of life, living with this, enjoying to see it, relaxing when you stand in front of it. And this is somehow get me into collecting more in depth. And then it started to become bigger, or like the second piece. And I more clearly focused then on African contemporary and its diaspora. This is ever since it's till today.
Cool. So where do you go to discover art?
I mostly looking in like online platforms like Artsy or like these kind of platforms, and as well through contacts from galleries. Galleries is probably 80 or 90%. And then of course art fairs, Instagram. Some of them I find before they're hitting or getting into a gallery. I found them on Instagram. So this kind of more younger channels of buying art. So I'm not like let's say like normally the older collectors, they're just focusing on one thing, going only to galleries or using an advisor or things like this. For me, it's much more like buying through galleries, internet platforms.
So now that we're obviously there's this global pandemic happening and we're all locked down and we can't go into galleries and stuff. Have you seen any interesting or exciting ways that people are adapting to that challenge?
Yes, as you can see, like a lot of galleries have to switch now their channel to and send the stuff through online visiting showrooms or through mails, through PDFs. Then as well, Art Basel Hong Kong, as you know, that they did this digital showroom. Definitely a way in this current situation, but of course, as everyone knows and hopes, that one day you see the art first before deciding to buy something as well, like for example in an exhibition or at the art fair. But I think I can understand the art market in the current situation to somehow move their track according to the pandemic situation. And
what do you
doing
think about
everything
the online
digital.
exhibitions that people have put on so far, as a format?
Mhm. Honestly, let's say it's a better way of showing the art than in a PDF, which is like a normal way, or private views on internet platform. It's interesting because you see like the dimension in comparison then to the room, or to maybe sometimes they have some people beside the piece of art. It is cool. It is great. It's much more exciting because you can see a lot of art in a very short time. So you can click through. Of course, it doesn't have the same experience if you go to an exhibition or if you go to an art fair. That's definitely this is the missing part. These kind of the visual effect is somehow a little bit lacking.
Yeah, so I think obviously people are probably going to be buying a lot less art now anyway because of the recession that's imminent or already happening. A lot of people are losing their jobs and stuff.
Yes,
But also then there's the secondary
absolutely.
issue of people are a lot more reluctant to buy not having seen the actual artwork in the flesh. Obviously that's not possible in the current climate.
Yes, it's definitely not possible, but I think you can still see quality in these digital showrooms or in a PDF, in a picture, and you can still say, okay, this is a stunning piece of art which will definitely look amazing in flash. I did it sometimes that I just saw the piece in PDFs and had to decide very quickly. And in the end, it was as well very good in flash. So I think it's a way to as well find good stuff. It's nothing to say, okay, now I'm waiting till everything is open again.
How do you think that this current pandemic is going to affect the art world in the long term?
Definitely have a change, for example, for the art fairs, which would take some time to somehow adapt to the situation of this kind of social distancing. And then on the other hand, through the, let's say, the economical thing that people are rather reluctant to buy now, rather wait and save money because no one knows what's happening. It probably has a big damage for the next months, or like maybe a little bit longer. But then, of course, on the other hand, there are still some people who can now buy piece of art rather cheap, and especially works with high quality, because some people might have to sell now because of several situations. So they have to sell, and then they rather sell for a cheaper price than probably it would have had sold for half a year ago. So it's beneficial, and it's you can have some good chances. But on the other hand, of course, it shows as well like that the art market was for a long time everything was going up, everything was very positive, and one hit like another hit after another. Now everyone sees that it can go as well in the different direction, and probably it takes a little bit of time, maybe a year, maybe some months, but then everything will probably and hopefully getting back to normal.
So there's a lot of initiatives happening with artists now trying to sell their works directly to collectors, sell smaller more affordable works, editions, sketches, things like that. Speaking as a collector, does artists selling smaller, cheaper works have any effect on how you see them?
That's a good question. It depends on the context, of course. If you have a very good piece of art which like straight flash your eye and see that it's a great piece and it's high quality in terms of characteristic, in terms of arrangement, in terms of visual effects, and it's a good artist, then there's a good chance now to get it cheap or like cheaper.
What would you say to? So I had someone ask me the other day, should an artist lower their prices during a period of economic downturn?
No, I would not recommend them to go lower. Stay at the level, and rather pushing themselves to create the same quality or good quality. Now they have amazing time. I think it's for them, it's a big chance because they don't have, let's say, pressure from the gallery to produce for a next exhibition. They can produce now for future exhibitions or things like this, and I think it's a good time for them to focus on their work, like everyone, focusing on their mind, focusing on what they really want, focusing on things that we couldn't have thought about during the stressing time we had before. Focusing on the work, I think it's a beneficial time for everyone, and even for the artists.
What can artists do to get their work noticed in times like this, and also just generally?
Yes. Definitely, Instagram is a big thing now currently. Like a lot of people doing like exhibitions or live talks, posting stuff, getting in contact with collectors. You see the importance of the social platforms is currently very big, like, and much more important than before, probably because everyone is home and rather watching it more carefully than they did before.
Another thing that we get asked quite a lot is how should artists approach collectors? Is that something that collectors, well, maybe you can't speak for all collectors, but is that the kind of thing that you want, or do you prefer to discover artists for yourself?
It's like, let's say, my biggest passion is to find the artist. Of course, this is my hobby, finding them on Instagram, on Artsy, and all these medias I mentioned, on exhibitions. So for me, I'm always open that artists can send something to Instagram or as well to the mail, to the website. But of course, on the other hand, I'm contacting artists on the social platforms as well, and I'm always happy to find someone who's very interesting and then straight contacting them.
Has social media affected how you discover and then buy art? Sort of the journey that you go through from discovering and then buying?
Oh yes, absolutely. It's a very easy and fast way. Absolutely, especially for the younger collectors, I think it's much more important than before, and for the artists too.
Do you think social media has affected a change in what artworks are seen as good or popular? What artworks become popular because of how many likes things get? Do you think that has an effect?
I think for this phenomenon of likes and followers, I can rather say that from my point of view or my opinion, it's not so important when the artist is good, or I see the quality in the post or in the picture they were sending. I don't think it's so important to have a view or to get affected by the likes and the followers.
Do you think, though, the way I see it is that artworks and artists that perform well on social media then get given exhibitions in actual galleries based on their performance on social media, and then therefore that makes those artists successful.
I wouldn't agree in this case. I know some artists like who have a lot of followers and likes on Instagram, and I know that they don't have a gallery. So for me, it's not another thing that which leads to my decision to go for an artist or not.
That's nice. That'll be probably reassuring for some people who see other artists, their contemporaries, performing really well on social media and maybe are a little bit concerned about their own performance.
So I can add a little bit of this thing which I'm always telling in my presentations or in my YouTubes or in my interviews, because in the end, for me, and what gave me proof in my some years of collectors, that you have to listen to your gut feeling and to your eyes, and don't listen too much to the ears, because in the end it's your decision. You have to feel good with it, and if your gut feeling says yes, and you love this piece, or you love the artist, you love how they showing it, then go for it. In the end, it's your decision, and you have to go for it and take the risk, and don't listen too much to other people or market.
What do you value most in an artist's output? Would you value consistency the most, or experimentation, or what would be your thing that you would look for?
For me, rather consistency in terms of quality, in terms of characteristics, in terms of uniqueness, in terms of let's say flashing me, giving me a feeling that this is great, this is something I'm burning for. That's for me important.
What about consistency in terms of aesthetic and in terms of style and in terms of content? Is that super important? I think a lot of artists worry that they have these ideas and then they make them and then they worry, does this look enough like my work? Is that something that concerns you?
There are two things for the artist. There's that's what they like and this what they want to do, where they're confident and where their best profession is, like, and then there's sometimes maybe a thing like maybe which is pushed by the market, what the market likes, which is easy to sell, which is easy be pleasant, and the artist like somehow always in a little bit in trouble to mix these kind of things. Don't do it too strange in this that the people get too shocked, or let's say, of course, shocking is good for some kind of people, but it's probably not easy as sellable as something eye pleasant.
So you've obviously collected a lot over the years. So tell us some of the most interesting ways you've discovered an artist.
The most interesting way, I found one artist on Instagram, which I bought and then afterwards hit to a gallery. This was like very interesting. As well, another artist 2 years ago, where I received a mail from a Cone gallery in LA, where they had the first exhibition of Jonathan Lyndon Chase, and I was immediately flashed by his works, and I was really humbled and really annoyed them that they sell one piece to me. And suddenly afterwards, then some months later, he got into residency with Oliver Elst, and had his kind of breakthrough through this exhibition with them. And it was amazing feeling that your gut feeling before gave you right, that you somehow spotted someone earlier than these kind of big collectors. One other thing was like Singer Samson, which I bought in a very, very early stage, and suddenly 2 weeks after he had a big his first exhibition with Armory show with Blank Project, and suddenly everyone was questioning and asking for works for him, which was pretty insane, because currently his waiting list is from Till the Moon, so everyone and now he's with Parotine, so the demand is even higher, which was very nice feelings, that you were confident enough to make a good decision.
His work is fantastic as well.
Yes. Thank you. Absolutely, I love them.
Do you ever sell works that you own? And do you think that collectors have a responsibility towards the artists they collect?
I think this discussion of selling is always a thing. Like, I think a lot of collectors have to sell now. Probably, I have to think that in this current situation, people have to be or liquidate their art, which is of course bad for the market or for the artists. But in the end, you should not limit someone who spend a lot of money into a piece of art. You should not say, okay, now you're not allowed to sell it, even in a situation like currently in the pandemic situation, which is a little bit unfair to the collector as well. So I think I'm a 50-50, let's say like this. If you need to sell, then you have to sell. If you don't need to sell, then keep it as long as possible now.
So we ask this question a lot to our guests. So what if you had a magic wand, what would you change about the art world?
Wow, very good question. Yes, I was thinking about this a lot. And it's a difficult one. What I would change, I would like to give a bigger viewpoint or like a bigger exhibition to more art. Of course, the galleries somehow extract the art or the best art from, but there are so many artists out there who have no chance to show themselves as with a gallery. So I would like to give them a bigger platform to show their stuff. This I would definitely change. And as well, on the other hand, giving a bigger chances to smaller galleries to stay longer or still stay in the market, especially in these kind of hard times, to make their sales, to get them supported. Because like currently everyone is talking about it, that probably the bigger galleries, they survive pretty easily because of selling artworks in a high price point. And somehow the smaller galleries struggle a little bit, which is absolutely unfair, and there should definitely be a support in terms of funding, in terms of support from government, cultural industry, something like this.
Yeah, I think the gap between the sort of the blue chip galleries and the lower end galleries is going to be widened significantly after this.
Yeah, I think that small galleries like us are not going to struggle in the same way that, say, medium-sized galleries will, because, say, for example, we don't have a permanent space or any staff. It's just us two.
Mm-hmm.
So we can afford to kind of weather the storm. I think galleries that are not selling works for hundreds of thousands of pounds, but do have expensive central London or big city locations, I think they're going to be the galleries that struggle.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
So speaking as a collector, for all of the artists listening now, what would you like to see artists doing more of?
I think for me, what I felt a lot, that artists, they don't want to present them so much. Like of course they're showing their stuff, and but let's say like this, I don't want to, probably not everyone is like this, but a lot of artists like kind of shy, and I would love to see that artists express themselves much more on social media and saying, hey, here I am, this is my work and I'm proud of it, so be confident. They're superb, most of them. They're really doing amazing stuff, and they should be confident to show it to the world, especially on social media, and accept as well like what they're doing. So
you'd like to see more of the artist personalities?
Yes, of course, showing themselves more in a confident way, saying, okay, here I am, this is my piece of art, this is how I see art, this is how I see the world. I'm confident to show it like this. More personality, more characteristic, more uniqueness.
Would you also like to see artists sharing their vulnerabilities and their concerns?
Absolutely, this would be amazing. If you have like a combination of the visions and then the vulnerabilities, it would be amazing. Like to show both. Absolutely, why not?
It's interesting, isn't it? Because a lot of artists don't show their sort of background or their sort of day-to-day lives and stuff on social media, and it's kept more like a gallery sort of page where they just show their works. It's interesting that you say that you want to see more of their personality. It's because some people do that, and yeah, it is refreshing to see it, I think.
I'm open for everything, to see everything. That's absolutely amazing.
What would be your dream work of art to own?
Oof.
And why would you, and why?
There are a lot of course, the big names. I've ever since I'm a child, I'm a fan of Picasso. I always adore his works, and of course Modigliani. But on the other hand, there are some, let's say, younger artists, like Jenny Saville, which is absolutely stunning. She somehow got me as well into this figurative art. When you have a look into my collection, a lot of figurative art is in. Although she's not from the background of like contemporary African art, she was somehow one of the most adorable figurative artists, and totally led me into this field of amazing figurative art.
Did you see the All Too Human exhibition at the Tate Britain last year?
Unfortunately not, no.
It was incredible.
Since I was in China last year, I couldn't join this.
What was it like in China? What was the scene like over there?
Since I was in China since 2018, bit of 2018, working in Shanghai.
Oh, cool.
And as well in Wuhan, which is currently the most famous city in the world because of the start of the pandemic. I was there in 2018, and as well came last year to Shanghai. It's an absolutely stunning, amazing country in terms of technology, in terms of speed, in terms of doing things fast, which is really very respectfully to see. Even the speed of, and as well the sizes and masses of people, and how things go as quick as possible. Shanghai became last year, or in the last months, very much the kind of hotspot for art. New personal or private museums, new exhibitions, new galleries, new art fairs, and it somehow turned into a very creative area, which I really liked, and is real like. So it's a very, very great country. So in terms of art as well.
So, and this is a big question that we asked to everybody. So, what one piece of advice would you give to an early career artist?
To an early career artist, the same I would give to an early career collector. I would tell them to listen to their gut feeling. This is absolutely the most important advice I can give, and my experience gave me right. There's not listen too much to the ears, rather listen to the gut feeling, to your eyes, and don't listen too much to the market and what people say.
Good advice.
Great, amazing. Right, well,
yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Yeah, that's a very nice place to end.
Thank you so much for the possibility to join. Yes.
No problem. All right.
Great, thank you.
See you later.